What if I told you that the Kakin Empire is actually becoming something even more dangerous than the Chimera Ants? Would you believe me? It sounds crazy at first. I know. I mean, the Chimera Ant arc gave us the birth of Meruem, a king who was literally created to dominate the world. But after the most recent chapter, I think Togashi has finally confirmed that Kakin has been chasing the exact same goal all along. Not just to crown another king, but to create something much greater. A being that could rule the entire world. So let's talk about it. So let's start with the main parallels between the Kakin Empire and the Chimera Ants. First, we have a ritual, a process in both cases that will produce the ideal king who shall lead his nation or species to world dominance. Can you spot any parallels here between Meruem and the future king of Kakin? When Meruem was born, we immediately understood his purpose. Everything the Chimera Ant Queen did, the feeding, the sacrifices, the entire brutal process, had one objective: to create the perfect king, a superior being, someone destined to stand above every other life form. Now think about the succession war. What is it really? It's another long, cruel process where countless lives are sacrificed to produce a single ruler, to create a being that transcends humanity, because that's exactly where all the recent information is pointing. So both stories revolve around a monarchy. Both have a process whose entire purpose is to elevate one individual above everyone else. Both involve enormous sacrifices, and both are trying to create something that almost resembles a god. Meruem wasn't simply born, he was manufactured. The next king of Kakin will be the same. And let me point out that their goal is the same. Lonhi hinted that Kakin's true ideology was world unification under the Kakin Empire. At the time, it almost felt like background information, but the recent chapter changes everything. Benjamin and Furikov both essentially confirm the same thing. The ultimate purpose of this ritual isn't simply succession, it's to create a ruler capable of leading Kakin to world domination. And suddenly, the parallels with the Chimera Ants become impossible to ignore. Everything changed with Benjamin's case, so he believes that through his Nenbeast he will transform into a higher being, a deity that will ensure the ruling of their lineage forever. He points out that this is the ultimate goal of the succession war. But how did the status change from a king to a god so suddenly? So let's go to some hints hiding in the previous chapters that explain this sudden change. First and foremost, not all participants are King Nasubi's sons. I have a feeling that Nasubi created this rule in the succession war in order to increase the ritual's risk and strengthen its result. Remember, greater risk leads to greater power. This is a main rule of Nen. But what if Beyond's child wins the war? Is King Nasubi willing to take a bet of such high stakes? I believe no. So here's my prediction. So Woble is the daughter of Beyond, and Nasubi began the war when Woble was born, so as to minimize the risk of his family losing the throne. I mean, how can this lose to a baby? This would also explain how Nasubi is tolerating all of Beyond's offsprings and he's allowing them to run wild. They are not a flaw in the ritual, they are fuel for it. Secondly, we still don't know the rules of the previous succession wars. Nasubi's own half-brother tells us that we will eventually learn more. But why wait? Why Togashi hides that information from us? Maybe because this succession war isn't following the same rules as the previous ones. Maybe this isn't just another coronation. Maybe this is the first ritual intended to create something beyond a king. Lastly, the parallels with the Chimera Ants. In both cases we have a monarchy. We also have a process or ritual which will elevate the king to a greater being. And finally, in both cases, we had the Netero trying to ruin their groove. Think about it, in the first case, Netero is trying to destroy the Chimera Ants while also achieving his dream of pushing himself to the absolute limit, while Beyond is trying to destroy Kakin's monarchy while also achieving his dream of further exploring the Dark Continent. Do I need to say more? Do you want me to go crazy? So Meruem is a baby, and Woble is a baby, both kind of main figures of this arc. We also have the drama of siblings like Katsu and Fugetsu, which is similar to the Colt and Shidore situation, and many more. Let's remember that in both cases, our main protagonists have something personal to solve with an enemy. Gon wanted to take revenge for Kite from Pitou, and Kurapika wants his clan's eyes from Terror Sandwich. But where does this all lead? I think Kakin is about to become humanity's next global threat. From here on out, there are many ways this could go, but here are some of my predictions. Benjamin will come close to realizing his dream, but he will fall to Tserriednich. Tserriednich has to be established as the main body of the arc, and what better fit than this, than beating Benjamin? But the character I'm watching more closely is Halkenburg. I believe that he will be the most crucial player. If we take into account the parallels with the Chimera Ants, he's the closest to Meruem considering the enormous character development that he had. Also, the confrontation scene with King Nasubi could be a foreshadow of him taking his place or becoming what Nasubi really aims for. So Halkenburg is a true son of Unma. We know that Unma supports him very much, and that Unma has an alliance with Beyond. We know that Halkenburg shares his ideas and Beyond's idea of making Kakin a democratic nation, but through his conflict with his father, it seems like he has changed his ways. But the other most important thing is that he has openly supported Tserriednich in many cases. Also remember that we need Tserriednich as an endgame villain for Kurapika. But we also need a villain for Beyond. Beyond has yet to prove his capabilities as a hunter. So let's go crazy here. Hulk steals Benjamin's body right before he dies, and he becomes the higher being of Kakin Empire. He then supports his brother, the fourth prince, to become the next king. And while Kurapika fights Tserriednich, Beyond has the showdown with a higher being, another form of Halkenburg. The only problem I see with this theory is the connection Hulk and Tse have. Hulk seems to admire Tserriednich, but I'm not so sure as to how well he knows him. I want to contemplate and see how the situation plays out, but until now, this is my theory. But if this theory is correct, then the Succession War has never been about deciding who becomes the king. It's about creating the most powerful ruler Kakin has ever produced. Just like the Chimera Ants created Meruem, Kakin has been trying to create its own perfect king. Only this time, the threat won't come from monsters. It will come from humanity itself. Am I reaching, or is Togashi intentionally drawing all these parallels? If you guys have any similar thoughts or suggestions, write them down in the comments. I would love to hear your theories. So thank you for staying until the end, and peace out.